Okay, so welcome to Setup Tips episode 18. Today we're going to be talking about how I was able to improve the audio in my office setup that we're currently sitting in right now, as opposed to all my other setups around the house. It's a lot easier to control the audio when you're in a smaller sized room, essentially. And I wanted to really improve this place to make it my audio even so I could record all my voiceovers and make videos like this that actually sound this good when it comes to the audio when I'm making videos for you guys. I did this thing in 3 very easy steps that you can actually use in your own setup when you're setting up your setup, or maybe you just actually want to improve your current setup with this. You can very easily do this and improve the audio in your gaming or office setup right now. So let's talk about it. The first step, and it usually looks like a very, very obvious one, but a lot of people don't do this, is to actually install some sort of rug or carpet on the floor. Now, in my case, I prefer to use carpets because they're a lot easier to work with and I can actually do the installation myself. But with rugs, they're more expensive and they're usually more difficult to maintain over time. And this is a space where I work all the time. I actually want to be able to constantly move around, get it dirty, clean it up again. But before you actually install the carpets, I advise you to use some sort of industrial underlay, as that is actually going to add some oomph and going to essentially improve the audio in your space astronomically. Step 2 is to actually cover all your doors and windows. And the way that you do this is by using curtains, not blinds, curtains. Now, there's a temptation to use blinds because they actually look better. I've used blinds in the past, but what I've realized is using heavy curtains that are actually really, really thick, maybe wool or something, is going to help you keep the sound inside, and there's not going to be a lot of reverberations around the room, bouncing off your doors and stuff like that. And the windows especially tend to let in a lot of other sounds, and using really, really heavy curtains like I'm using in my space is going to help a lot. Now, usually after you do these 2 things, you should be pretty much okay, especially if it's a really, really small sized room, right? In the past, I've been totally fine with this. But the 3rd step is something that a lot of people actually tend to do first before doing these other 2 things without realizing these 2 things, just making your room feel more homey, is essentially going to fix up all your audio. But since this is actually what people like to do best, I figured I'll team up with a company that was actually interested in helping you guys learn this stuff to bring this video to you. So without the guys at Sonic Acoustic, this video would have never been possible. But what a lot of people tend to do when they are trying to set up their office spaces, when they want to control the audio, is they install acoustic panels. Now, obviously you might notice that these acoustic panels don't look like the regular old air crate style acoustic panels that most people use. And the reason for that is because these ones were actually designed by a company who actually care about aesthetics and what your panels and your studio space looks like. So you're able to actually install this on your walls, and they essentially look like that is how the walls were designed to look, and they actually are very thin and lightweight and very, very easy to work with. This is something that I would recommend to pretty much anybody because they look good and they actually help you control the bounce of your walls when it comes to audio. Now, another bonus step that people tend to do usually when they have issues with bass response inside of their studio spaces is that they deploy bass straps. Now, my bass straps are kind of quirky right now because, they were folded up when they were shipping. But I'm sure if I leave them to sit for a while, they're actually going to sit right, and then I can deploy them and install them in my setup. Bass traps are actually advanced level. So like if you're a proper audio engineer or you're somebody who does professional voiceovers and you don't want to use a booth, you'd like to pretty much improve your audio in the aspect of your bass response, bass traps are actually very, very useful for stuff like this. But that's not something you want to worry about. I mean, if you've already followed the first 2 steps by installing industrial underlay and actually using a carpet or a rug, installing curtains on your walls, and just installing some acoustic panels, preferably from Sonic Acoustic, because this looks fantastic. Honestly, I have not actually seen acoustic panels that look this good. You're going to be completely fine, and you're probably not going to have to worry about your bass response because your audio probably already sounds like this. Fantastic. But if you want to go the extra step, you can actually try and install some bass traps to help you with your bass response, and your studio space or your office space is going to sound lovely. I mean, I'm sure you like what you're hearing right now. That's essentially what you're going to be investing in if you take the time to do these 3 things. Anyways, that was Setup Tips episode 18. Thank you so much for watching, and I guess I will see you on another video that was shot by Kagan. Peace. Bye.